Welcome everybody again to that new episode of It's Your Life. And for those of you who are with us for the first time, like I can see here a few today, my name is Mona Abderrahim Santel and I'm the owner of Mind Your Power. And we have started this series at the beginning of April for people who are locked down, for people who are at home, for people who are anxious, for people who are afraid, for people who don't know how to cope with the situation, because it was a very, very new situation for a lot of people. So we have had amazing speakers every night, something different. Every night, someone else, somewhere scientific, somewhere very spiritual. You know, everybody who said something else. But all of them gave a lot of tips, a lot of techniques of how to be able to cope. Tonight, we have something different again. So tonight, I'm very, very pleased to have with me Gloria Constantas on the call. Now, I have known Gloria, I think, I don't know, 10 years, 15 years?
Yes.
Something like that.
10 years. 10 years, because it was 2010 when I went to a class for the National Guild in New Hampshire. Was it still in New Hampshire?
No.
I guess it was in Boston, but you were taking a class in NLP and I was taking a class in instructing hypnosis.
Was there when we met? Okay, so
2010.
Probably that's where we met. Yeah, a long time ago. Anyway, I have seen Gloria a lot of times. So Gloria is a hypnotherapist, and I don't, you know, you don't look it, and I can't believe that you've been practicing hypnosis since 40 years. But
40 years? I started when I was 14.
Well, okay, wow.
No, that's the truth. I took out a library book when I was 14 that was called Hypnosis, and it had scripts in it, so I used it on all my friends.
How did you get to hypnosis at 14? I'm curious.
I was in my library. I was living in Staten Island. They have a beautiful little brick library, and it's part of the New York Public Library system. So I was just browsing some books and I saw this book there and it said hypnotism. I was interested in it, so I picked it up and that was it. Then I got a chance to be certified later, much later, and that was in '97. I got certified. '96 I took the class. In '97 started practicing.
So yeah, so 40 years, you know, and then you got hooked. Gloria is also a hypnotherapy instructor, and I remember one of the talks that I attended that you gave, one of the presentations was about hot flashes. So Gloria also works a lot with, you know, hypnosis can be used for anything, and that's so nice about hypnosis. We work on physical issues, on emotional issues, on mental issues. We can work with so many things. Now today, Gloria has a very special recipe for you. Recipe for happiness. And Gloria, you know, I was saying it's so funny because just an hour ago, my youngest son had a couple of friends on a Zoom call, and he baked a cheesecake with raspberry topping the other day, and it was so good that he had his friends all on Zoom and me, and so I learned the recipe of that cheesecake from my son. And here I am again presenting to learn a recipe from you. Now this time, it sounds easy. You were saying something about 6 ingredients to happiness. A lot of people, I think, are just overwhelmed with negative news these days. So I am really, really curious what Gloria has to say to us today, and really, really excited to learn about her tips about happiness. So, Gloria, now the floor is all yours. Tell us, how can we get to happiness, and what is it?
Okay, great. Good afternoon. It is 12 noon here in Florida. I have been thinking a lot about happiness over the past few weeks during this time of lockdown, confinement, quarantine, isolation. I don't like to use those words. I've been calling it a staycation. Staycation is a combination of stay at home and vacation, because if somebody tells me you can't leave your house, all I want to do is escape. So I have been thinking of it as a staycation where I have time to reflect and do things that I want to do, and I am still working. A lot of people are looking at it as a time of cocooning or metamorphosis. So we just need to think that we were all caterpillars when we started this quarantine, and now we're ready to emerge as butterflies. Because right now in Florida, anyway, they are starting the reintegration. They've opened the beaches. They have opened the restaurants to 25% capacity. So a lot of people are getting out this weekend, and we have beautiful weather. So it's going to be a very nice weekend. And I am so happy, Mona, to be here on It's Your Life. I think this has been a really great series. I'm so glad I could be part of it.
You know, it is people like you that we need, and people who really have something to say. And you know, like you said, it is your life. And so many times we allow things from the outside to control us. So we need people like you to spread the word of really taking back control. So I want to thank you really for being here, and for committing, and for giving your time, because all of these speakers that we have, like Gloria, are just, you know, giving their time and sharing all their knowledge and experience of years and years and years. And I'm really, really grateful and honored to have you here.
All you said when I asked to be part of this, you said, just be positive. Just be positive. Because there's been so much on TV and on the internet, just everything was negative. So positivity is the antidote for all that negativity. So who here wants to be happy? Let me see a show of hands. I see some hands. Good, thank you. What is happiness? Happiness means different things to different people. Some people think that they need to have a new house, a new car, a Lamborghini, a boat. They want to meet their favorite movie star. They want to marry their childhood sweetheart. A few years later, they want to divorce that so-and-so. Boom. So we think things will make us happy, and they really don't. They've done studies on this now. Even if you win the lottery, you'll be happy for a little while. And then a year later, you'll be back at your level of before winning the lottery. So what is happiness? Is it just a fleeting emotion, a state of mind, an attitude? A destination? I'll know it when I get there. Happiness, they have found, there's been a lot of studies done now on it. Happiness is a skill, and it can be cultivated. There's let's see, the definition by Sean Aker, the author of The Happiness Advantage. He said, happiness is when you are engaging in activities that help you develop your potential. As I said, there's a lot of studies being done about happiness. Over 200 studies suggest that happy people are more successful in marriage, career, finances, business, and health. They're more productive, they earn more, and they're even more sexually satisfied. Okay, so I have come up with 6 essential ingredients for my recipe for happiness. So it's a very simple recipe. We start with gratitude. G is for gratitude. All of the literature, all of the articles, all of the studies mention gratitude. To be happy, you have to first be grateful. I had a client who was very negative. She came in and she complained about the weather, her family, her neighbors, and of course, the government. So I gave her homework to do. Her homework was to put a notebook next to her bed, write down 5 things that she's grateful for every night until we see each other again. She said to me, 5 things? 5 things? I have to write down 5 things? I said, yes, 5. 5. I was going to make it 10. No, I just said 5. Yes, 5 things. And they can't have to be different things. They can't be the same things every night. So the next time I saw her, she came in. She said, wow, nice weather we're having. I had lunch with my neighbor yesterday. My daughter called me this morning. We spoke for 20 minutes. I didn't even know she had a daughter. And she didn't even mention the government. So I asked her about the homework. She said, sometimes it was really hard to think of 5 things. So I only thought of 3 or 4. Even with 3 or 4 things, this little assignment worked. They have done this with studies. They're finding now that 3 things per night for 2 weeks raises your level of happiness for 6 months. So the key here is to keep it going. There's a lot of ways to express gratitude. One way is just to say thank you to people who do something for you. Please and thank you, they used to be the magic words. Now they're not as common, but we can still use them. We can start a little gratitude movement. Write a letter, send an email, make a phone call. Express your gratitude. Remember things that you're grateful for, because that's a good way to change your mood immediately, very quickly. It's a good thing to do this at night, because the last thing that you think about before you go to sleep is the first thing you're going to think of in the morning. So you want to be thinking about things that you're grateful for, good things that happened. And when you wake up, you're saying, wow, I wonder what great things are going to happen today. I always try to start the day with a song. Don't Worry, Be Happy, one of my favorites. And there's also, today's going to be the best day of my life. I like that song. Now, the next ingredient is laughter. So first we're going to start with, well, children, they find that toddlers laugh or smile 400 times a day. They find that adults laugh or smile 10 to 15 times per day. So right now, let's bring this amount up. We're going to smile like nobody's watching. Just smile. Smiling is a great way to raise your energy. If you see somebody who doesn't have one, give them yours. And guess what? You get to keep it. You get to keep one also. It's a win-win situation. Smiling raises your energy. Now, laughter, and we learned this in your series, Mona. Rolla did some yoga laughter. I like to do laughter yoga also in my classes. First, we've got to breathe, though. You know, I teach all my clients how to breathe. So we're going to put your right hand on your chest. You're going to put your left hand on your belly, near your belly button. When we breathe, we're going to push the left hand out. So the belly's going to push the hand out on the bottom. This hand is pretty much should stay still. Okay, so we're going to breathe in and push that belly out. And then hold it for a second and then let it go. Breathe out your mouth. Okay, so we're going to breathe in the belly and push that belly out. Hold it, and then let it go. Let's do that one more time. Let's all breathe together. Breathe in, hold it, and breathe out. You may have experienced a little lightheadedness. What happens when you breathe like that is you get a lot of oxygen into your lungs. When you get oxygen into your lungs, you get oxygen into your blood. When you get oxygen into your blood, guess what? That blood can get to your brain and you can think better. So laughter is a great way to relieve tension. It's an antidote for stress, because when you stress, you tense up and you don't get any blood up here and you can't think. When you're stressed and you go into fight or flight, the blood goes to your muscles so that you can run or fight. It doesn't go to your brain. So we like to have blood in our brain. We like to have blood in our brain so we can have oxygen in our brain. Oxygen helps us to think. So now, while we're doing our belly breathing, we are going to do some laughter yoga. So we are going to breathe in. We're going to hold it, and then we're going to laugh and say, ha, 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 ha. Do it again. Breathe in. Hold it. Say, ha, 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 ha. One more time. Breathe in. Ha, 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 ha. Keep it going. If you laugh for 2 minutes, it turns into real laughter. So that's why they're doing all this laughter yoga. They have laughter clubs. People go there and laugh, and then all of a sudden they're laughing. It's side-splitting laughter, and their sides ache. But it's a really good aerobic exercise when you laugh like that. Okay, our next ingredient is optimism. Let's imagine right now. Imagine it's not time of quarantine. You can go into your bank. You go into your bank, there's other people there. They're not wearing masks. But then somebody does come in who's wearing a mask, covering his face. He comes in with a gun. He's there to rob the bank. One shot is fired. You get shot. The police rush in, they apprehend the criminal, and they leave. So there was one shot fired, only one shot fired, and you got shot. Do you consider yourself lucky or unlucky? Unlucky, raise your hand. Okay, now I want to see people who consider themselves lucky, raise your hand. I see hands. You're supposed to pick one or the other, not both. Okay, so if you consider yourself lucky, you are an optimist. You're an optimist because you think, well, there was only, a bank robber came in, only one shot was fired. Nobody got killed. Could have been a lot worse. But if you consider yourself unlucky, you may be thinking, one person got shot. One shot was fired. I got shot. That's not fair. It could have been worse, but I got shot. So that's the same situation, but two different ways to look at it. There is a book called Learned Optimism by Martin Seligman. He also wrote a book called Authentic Happiness. He's written several books. He's the father of positive psychology. He's the one who decided instead of thinking about mental illness, we should be studying happy, successful people and see if we can help the average people, rather than just looking for mental illness. They say that 20% of people are born optimistic. The rest of us need to read that book. He has some exercises in there to help us to cultivate optimism. When you're optimistic, you believe that everything good that happens to you because you're a good person and because you did something to deserve it and you made it happen. And when something not so good happens, oh, you know, stuff happens. It wasn't your fault. So there's different aspects of optimism, but optimists do live longer and healthier lives. So it's kind of worth it to cultivate the optimism. Okay, so that was optimism. The next ingredient is relationships. Many studies show that people in long-term marriages or long-term relationships are happier than people who are unattached. They find that married people, there's an advantage to being married also over cohabitation. Married people are wealthier, healthier, and more sexually satisfied. What was I going to say about relationships? Relationships, we know that isolation and loneliness is very bad for your health. The bad thing about this quarantine is that people who were sick were not allowed to have visitors in the hospital or nursing homes or hospices, and many of them died alone. Isolation is not good for us. We know relationships are good for us. There was a study just recently done about asking people, how many close friends do you have close enough to share a personal problem with? The average person says 2. But there were over 50% of people that participated in this study who said 0. They have 0 people they can talk to about a personal problem. That's a big tragedy. And that's why mental health professionals, therapists, and hypnotherapists like me have jobs. So the next ingredient is imagination. As a hypnotist, I help people use their imagination to make changes in their life. Imagination, I think it's Einstein who said imagination was more powerful than anything. So what I want everybody to do is, I want to see your hands. Rub your hands together, get a little bit of warmth, just for a minute here. Rub your hands together. You're going to clasp your hands. You're going to point your 2 fingers up. Point your 2 fingers up, and you can stare at the space between your 2 fingers there. So I want you to imagine, if you will, visualize if you can, even pretend if you have to. There are those fingertips, there are magnets inside your fingertips. Those magnets are pulling your fingers together. Those magnets are very strong magnets. They're pulling your fingers together, pulling them tighter and tighter together, tighter and tighter and tighter together. Just feel those magnets pulling your fingers closer and closer together, and your hands closer and closer together. The magnets are pulling your hands closer together. They're clamped together. They're stuck together. They're stuck like glue, stuck so tightly together that in a moment I'm going to ask you to pull your hands apart. You'll try, but you cannot pull them apart. 1, your hands are pulling tighter and tighter together. 2, stuck like glue. 3, try to pull your hands apart. You cannot. Try to pull your hands apart. Okay, I know we got some sticky hands there. Okay, just relax your fingers. Put your hands down and let them come apart. There you go. Now that was just your imagination. There was no magnet, there was no glue. That's the power of your imagination. When you want to achieve any goal, the best thing you can do is imagine. Imagine that it is already done. Imagine what you're going to look like, what other people will look like, what it will feel like, what people will say to you. Imagine the end result. It's already done. Using your imagination can help you get there. The last ingredient is affirmations. Affirmations are positive present tense statements. I know we have a lot of NLP practitioners here. Affirmations are positive present tense statements like, I am healthy. My lungs are healthy and function perfectly. My brain is healthy and functions perfectly. When you brush your teeth, you can say, my teeth are strong and healthy and function perfectly. Whenever you can, affirm your health. Your body believes every word that you say. That's a title of a book by Barbara Levine. Your body believes every word you say. And she wrote that book over 20 years ago. So she knew about this before Bruce Lipton and Greg Braden and the Biology of Belief, which is an excellent book. But I want to give her her due. I think that theory was not popular when she published her book. So you want to replace any negative self-talk with positive affirmations as many times as possible a day. These affirmations work like hypnotic suggestions. When you talk to yourself, you're hypnotizing yourself, and your words have power. That's why in the beginning I started with, I reframed my period of quarantine as a staycation. Staycations are fun. Quarantine? I don't know. That's not a fun word. So you want to use as many affirmations as you can all day long. You can repeat. It's good in the morning. What I do in the morning is think of what my affirmation is for the day. Pick a different one or the same one, whichever ones are working for you. I like one by Louise Hay. She's the mother of affirmations. She wrote a book, You Can Heal Your Life, and also You Can Heal Your Body. She said, life is meant to be fun, and I'm now willing to enjoy it. You can pick anything that you want. I am surrounded by optimistic friends and laughter. That gets a couple of ingredients in there. I'm surrounded by the ingredients for happiness. So this is the recipe. The ingredients start with the letters of my first name. G is for gratitude, L is for laughter, O is for optimism, R is for relationships, I is for imagination, A is for affirmations. So the recipe is this. Take copious amounts of gratitude, laughter, optimism, relationships, imagination, and affirmations. Sprinkle with sunshine. Stir together. No cooking necessary. Just add friends and enjoy.
What a wonderful recipe, and so easy. So
no
easy.
Cooking.
That was fabulous. And I only realized now that you actually used your name.
That's how I remember. It's easier to remember that way. Okay,
very smart, yeah. Do we have any questions to Gloria? Virginia is saying, thank you, Gloria. Your smile is bright. Your positivity makes the world glow.
Thank you, Virginia.
Absolutely. And you know, when we go back to that wonderful smile that you said before, it is so easy to smile. And many times people forget to smile. They just forget.
When you smile, you send messages to your brain to make you happier. So if you don't feel like smiling, you can bite a pen or pencil. They've done studies that uses the same muscles.
So it's sort of a question that I have about this, because Gloria and I have known each other for a long time, and I had kind of a not kind of, a real health crisis a couple of months ago, that Gloria helped me with this optimism idea, and things are good, you know? So there's the gratitude today. Things are good. But at the very moment, I know it was a little bit of a challenge to Gloria, and she was a challenge to me, because when you're sitting face to face with a doctor who's got very, very grim news for you, and the doctor cries and blinks back the tears, and then the next day you need to put yourself in a frame of mind that is happy, because that happiness, you know scientifically, you know from experience, that happiness is what's going to move you into healing. How do you do that? How do you cross that bridge? Because you're sitting there going, this is crazy. How am I going to get to the happiness that's going to actually make me better? Is that clear, that question? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's why I made some recordings for you to listen to.
Right.
Because a lot of people have been listening to the news. The news has changed this week since we're reintegrating. But the news focuses on, for the past 6 weeks, they were focused on how many people died. Okay. Now they're not saying that. And I have found other sources where it tells you how many people recover. Okay. And that's important, because now every doctor and nurse practitioner should be trained in NLP and hypnosis, because they have found, they do these studies. If the doctor says 80% of people have a successful outcome from this procedure, you're more likely to do the procedure than if they say 20% of people have complications from this procedure. It's exactly the same statistic, but if you focus on the success, people are more happy to do it and are more positive about it. If you focus on the complications, the worst that could happen, then it seems like a very bad idea. So we've got to train your doctors too. If your doctor cries when they tell you the results, I don't know what to say. I wouldn't want to have that doctor. We want doctors that are sensitive, but then on the other hand, you don't want your doctor to cry when they're talking about your condition.
Thank you for sharing your story. That's absolutely very, very heartfelt. I've been in that position. The doctor didn't cry, but I got a hefty dose of empathy. And I'll never forget it, because as you were saying that, I was reliving the phone call with the results at the kitchen table with my husband. And I remember hanging up the phone, and we looked at each other and our eyes locked. And I said, the first time it happened, I laughed my way through it. I gave myself a budget. I bought silly things I didn't need, but they were just, to me at that point, they were absolute necessities, and they made me laugh. And each laugh pulled me through the horrid, wretched situation. And the second time, we had to repeat the laughter, because I knew in my mind that is the only way it would be able to become clear, to become manageable. And I would go through my path one step at a time, climbing each rung of that ladder until I won. So what you just said right now to all of us meant so very much. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing. Thank you.
Just thank you, Gloria. Beautiful recipe. I wrote it in the comment. I loved all the steps, and I started tracing. I thought already on the number 3, I already made it like beautifully, like your name, so it's easy to remember as well. And the number 2 is, I think, is a huge thing. I mean, I love doing this thing, and since I was at school, I was always told off, and everywhere, because I love. And some of my friends, all the time, some of my friends were in the trouble, or we lost, like our money and purse. My first reaction to think is laughter. I don't know why. Some people get upset, and they think, look, I'm in the same situation as you are, but I'm laughing, and that was always my protection. I think it's been always. I think I'm quite lucky that I think one of this 20%, but I will read the book. Yeah, distracting by laughing, but now I think it's not a bad thing at all. It helps me in difficult situations.
People probably seek you out because you do laugh. They want to be around you.
Yeah, I love this laughter yoga.
There's several people who do laughter yoga. And of course, we have Rolla. You can watch the replay that Rolla did for Mona about laughter yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And
we had a session with Rolla, who did one, and we have another laughter yoga session coming up in end of May with Soha, another laughter yoga instructor also. They both work with it a lot, so we have another one coming up too. Yes,
that's cool. I'd like to learn it as well. I think it's beautiful too. Yeah.
I don't want to say it's easy to learn, but I saw it on YouTube and I started using it in my presentations, and it's great to get everybody to stand up. Laughing Buddha, I didn't think I was going to be able to do Laughing Buddha here the same way, because I usually stand up and we raise our arms and we bend over and laugh, okay? But you can still do it here, on a little smaller scale. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun in a workshop with a lot of people.
I have a question. I'm not sure if you answered this while I was disconnected, so I'm going to ask it anyway. From my own experience and from what I hear from my clients, when people see that you are happy or at least smiling, they would assume that you are shallow and that you are not taking things that are happening around you seriously.
Yeah.
So I'm talking even from my own experience. People would tell me, how do you manage to be so positive? Are you stupid or what? You don't see that people are dying and people are without jobs and people are whatever. So what do you think would be the perfect answer to maybe to help others join us in being happy?
Well, it's not good to smile or laugh when other people are telling you about their tragedies.
No, not when. In general, for example, now during the pandemic, if I post anything that is a tiny little bit not negative, they would tell me, come on, you're so shallow, this is all theories and you just say things and we cannot be happy, and how can you be so happy?
Well, everybody has their own way of looking at things. I would tell them, see, here's the thing, whether you think the world is a terrible, terrible place and terrible things happen every day, or whether you think the world is a wonderful place and wonderful things happen every day, it's all what you're focusing on. So, there are so many people, I talk to people and they said, but you have to watch the news. And I'm watching the news, 10 hours a day. You don't have to watch it 10 hours a day. The news is depressing and it is bad for your health.
Yeah.
And it is very bad to watch before you go to bed. It gives you nightmares. So the thing is, just say, well, I'm not sure how to say, those people, if they're your friends, they'll understand and they'll accept you, even if you're cheerful. And people will seek you out because you are cheerful. But there are gloomy Gusses. If you're cheerful, they don't want to be near you because they want their misery. They want it. They're invested in it. So let them have it. Just say, you're right. You're right. The world is a terrible place. Bye. I'll see you later.
Yeah, because I noticed that although I was offering free sessions for fear and anxiety during the coronavirus times, people don't want to stop being afraid because they assume that it's fear that's going to protect them.
Yes, that's why. That's why. They think they're going to be protected if they worry about it. But the fact is, worrying does not protect you. It suppresses your immune system.
Exactly.
So that's what I tell them. I laugh because it raises your immune system. Worrying suppresses your immune system.
You even stop having your good judgment and your thoughts that are in your prefrontal cortex.
Yes, that's what when I was talking about breathing and the oxygen getting to your brain.
Yeah,
If your
exactly.
if oxygen
You
is
focus
not your
on
brain,
buying
you
toilet
can't think.
paper instead of having plan Bs and organizing your life with whatever you have right now.
Yeah, no, yeah. You need some oxygen in your brain, and worry and stress depresses your immune system. It prevents the oxygen from going to your brain. So do some laughter yoga with them. Say it's good for your health. And it's going to take them a long time to start really laughing. But once they start laughing, they might actually like it.
We have another question here. How to reconcile facts with positive emotion?
It's all how you look at it. It's that 80% success, 20% complication. Which are we going to focus on? Are you going to be in the 80% or the 20%? Because they present certain facts on the news, but there are certain facts they don't present on the news. So you got to always look for those other facts.
You know, if you take the title of what we're doing right here, right, it is your life. It's your life. So a lot of times we care way too much what other people think or how other people speak to us, or, you know, like you said, clients who say you're shallow or whatever it is. It really doesn't matter because it's about you. So don't allow things from the outside to affect how you live your life. It is your life, you know? And so it's neither a client who can say to me if I'm shallow or not. It's not the coronavirus who can say to me if I should be afraid or not. But if I start from the inside and then go outside, and I guess that's, you know, what this whole series is about and all these tips. And if we keep reminding ourselves that, yeah, let me live. Who cares what other people say? And then that reflection and that projection on others will somehow help them by us being our true nature or happy, you know.
It's up to you. You can be in the same house, the same circumstances. You can be happy or you can be miserable. So do you want to, okay, I don't want anybody to think I'm shallow, so I'm just going to be miserable. Or, I mean, isn't it better to just say, well, you know, maybe these certain things were not the way I wanted them, but I still got through it. I got through it happy or I got through it miserable. You can get through it either way. Which is more fun? Right now, I'm in the process of learning to accept fun and nothing else. Why not? If I have to live through this, it's going to be fun. That's it. It may as well be fun. People who don't want to have fun with me don't have to.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Do we have any other questions? And also, do we have any questions from the people who are live with us on Facebook?
Okay, that recipe was very clear. If anybody needs the recipe, you know what, I'll send you, Mona, I'll send you an email and I'll put the recipe in there specifically so they have the exact recipe.
It will be there. It will be with the replay. And thank you so much, Gloria. It's actually really easy, right? So let's put a little bit of gratitude, some laughter, some optimism, good relationships, which we are doing here. Look at what we're doing right now, right? We're building relationships even on Zoom. We are all optimistic because otherwise we wouldn't be sitting here. We laughed a little bit together. We are grateful. How many times did you say thank you here in the chat? I mean, if I just look at that chat, how many thank yous that we have already here in that chat for the last hour or so? And then, of course, let's imagine what will happen later on. What will happen when we're sitting with our clients or friends and we're laughing and being positive? Yeah, and let's end that all with an affirmation. So here we go, all the 6 ingredients together. I am happy. That's a good affirmation. I am grateful. You know, these are really great affirmations. So putting all of these together, and I would like to end it with really, really gratitude to you, Gloria, for being here, for sharing that recipe with us. Thank you so, so much, because it is your time and you know, whatever you put together. And also, of course, a lot of gratitude to all the other people who were with us, whether here, all of you who are here. And also, I'm very grateful for the ones who shared their experience and their questions. And it's showing me more and more how many people actually want to talk and want to share, yeah, with people they don't even know sometimes. Yeah, so thank you really, really very much for doing that. Just a couple of words at the end from my part. So the first link is, if you want to register for this series, please do so, and then you'll get an email from me with the speaker of the day and the talk of the day. We started every day. We started that series on the 1st of April, and I had a talk every single night. Now, this will go on till the 12th, so another 5 days, and then we will do weekly calls, just because people are going out again, so people are not confined to the house, and so the intervals will be longer. If you would like to watch all the replays, because as you know, Gloria was talking about Rula, who did laughter yoga, but we have other amazing speakers, please go to my website. It's mindyourpower.org. It's Your Life, All Speakers. The link is right here too. Or you can go to my YouTube channel, which is also called Mind Your Power, and watch all the replays, and also get the contact details of all the speakers. And lastly, if you would like to talk, if you are anyone who has a good tip for anyone, you know, you don't have to be a therapist or a doctor. If you have something to say, something positive, like I said to Gloria, right? It has to be positive. Then please send me an email at mona@mindyourpower.org. Mona is MONA @mindyourpower.org. And please send me whatever you want to talk about that could help other people, and I will be very, very happy to have you on the call. So if you are listening now also on YouTube or on Facebook, please, if you are someone who would like to share with the world, then please contact me. That's all I have to say from my part. And once again, thank you to all who were on the call, and a big, big, big thank you. Maybe we can share a last laughter and smile for Gloria. Let's all give you a big laughter and smile.
Smile and say, ha, 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 ha.
And just laugh.
Thank you, really. Thank you, everybody.